Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is kind of a special one. This is VIN 0141-141. This is actually the second for the US 49 that was ever produced as a production car. And of course it belonged to Lexus when it was new, but this is a 2016 083, which is ultra white with LA30 red interior, for sale at CarMax in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with 116,000 miles for $41,000. Even though it's the second production car, it is the actual first in service. So it's the earliest in service date of any of the GSFs for the US 49, being December 10th of 2015. And it actually looks like it was originally put in service the day before. So December 9th, 2015 is when this was actually put on the road. In case you're curious, the earliest one is VIN 0137, and it is also one that originally belonged to Lexus. About the first 5 or 6 cars all belonged to Lexus, and they were either press cars or they were corporate employee vehicle cars. So like an executive or somebody that was high up had the first chance at getting the brand new thing. And so this is one of those cars. Production statistics: 648 out of the 2,348 cars for the US 49 were ultra white, and 361 of those had LA30 red interior. It's the most common color combination, white with red. 15.37% of all of the US 49 production was this color combo, so that is a 1 out of 10 for rarity. For 2016, there are 372 out of the 1,418 cars were ultra white, and 214 had LA30 red interior. So this car at its rarest is one of 214. A little more in-depth detail on this one, since I had it. This car was built on October 30th of 2015. There were 3 cars built that day. That's the first day of the production cars. And it has engine number 2062182 if it still has the original engine, and that will be on the upper intake manifold, or it's also stamped on the heads and the block. But you can take the upper cover off and you can see a black and white label on top of the blue intake manifold, and it should read 2062182 if it is still the original engine. As far as options go, this car has G4, which is the lighted front door sill, the kick sills. It has Mark Levinson stereo, orange calipers, and a very common option package is called Z2, which is the trunk mat, cargo mat, wheel locks, and key gloves. So like the little leather things that go around your key fobs. Carfax, Epic VIN, and Auto Check. So Carfax in 2026 shows this as a 3-owner, no accident car. My 2024 Carfax also shows this as a 3-owner, no accident car, Texas and Oklahoma car. Epic VIN shows this as a 2-owner, no accident car, which I don't think is correct. And Auto Check shows this as a 3-owner, no accident car. So I think it is safe to assume this is a 3-owner, no accident, originally owned by Lexus, Texas and Oklahoma clean title car. Previous sales. So this car was originally titled by Lexus in California, and then it looks like in around 2017 when they moved their headquarters to Plano, it followed and it continued. It kind of makes me think that it was probably somebody pretty high up at the company that, you know, worked at headquarters, and then when the headquarters moved, they came with it, and so did the car. Not very normal for Lexus ownership. Usually they keep them for at most like 6 to 8 months, and then they sell them on. In this instance, they had it for 2.5 years and 23,000 miles. So pretty long-term Lexus ownership for this car. And then everything after that for this car happens in June of 2018, $61,500 with 23,000 miles, sold L certified at Sewell Lexus here in Dallas, and it sold in just 2 days. And then 2 years later, June of 2020, $45,000 with 76,000 miles in Tulsa, Oklahoma at a Nissan dealer, and it sold in less than a month. And here it is in June of 2026, $41,000 with 116,000 miles, again at CarMax in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So it's still in Tulsa. So something of note with the CarMax is it was reserved almost immediately, which is very typical of these cars. That doesn't necessarily mean it's sold. So that's why I still do these videos, even though they show reserved, because sometimes they do release them and they pop back up for sale. So now into the photos. This car looks to be in pretty good shape overall, considering it has 116,000 miles on it. I do see a few little scrapes and scratches along the lower front bumper and on the edges of the front bumper. That's pretty typical. But you know, overall, I don't see any real issues that stand out. They did disclose that it has a chip on the hood that looks like it's been touched up, and it has a chip in the windshield. If that wasn't prepared, or if that wasn't repaired correctly, that could get expensive because a windshield at the dealer or under insurance, could be in excess of $2,000 to replace. The other things on the exterior, looks like the exhaust could use a pretty good polishing on the tips, or maybe just a good cleaning. A lot of carbon buildup on them. As far as the interior goes, I see the beginnings of the carbon fiber delamination on pretty much all the pieces, both front dash pieces, the center console, and the driver's front door. The passenger door, it's kind of hard to tell, but just kind of assume that the usual 5 front pieces are starting to delaminate. They don't look too terrible. Sometimes, like, all it takes is a really cold night outside and they'll delaminate. But for right now, it looks okay, but just know that in the future, that's gonna be something you're gonna have to address. The touch points, the seat bolster, the steering wheel, shift knob, things like that, I don't see any issues, don't see any excessive wear there either. I just think overall, it looks like a pretty good driver quality car. It's not perfect, but it's not in rough shape either. So as far as the price goes, in this market, it's probably priced just a hair low and not far off. I would probably put this car in the $42,000, $43,000 range for this mileage. There's been several other examples in this range and as a 2016 that are usually listed around 45 and they sell in the low 40s. So this car being at 41, it's not out of line. I would call it just a hair low for the market, but a good deal otherwise. So now onto the service history. It, of course, was well maintained while Lexus owned it, but after that, there's only like 5 services. And even more recently, the last service at the dealer was in 2022, about 30,000 miles ago. So 4 years and 30,000 miles ago is the last dealer service. The only thing I saw in Carfax was a tire replacement, and that's it. So the service history, there's quite a bit of unknown there. There is a pretty decent amount that we'll go through, and I think that there's going to be some catching up. So we'll go ahead and jump into it. So the first entry of note was August of 2016. It had its first oil change at 5,000 miles, very standard. Well, here it is, 9,000 miles. The low oil light was on. It was 2 quarts low. And so, just something of note. Generally, what they'll do is they'll do an oil consumption test. They'll top it off, seal it, and then say, come back in 1,000 miles. And if it's in excess of 1 quart low, then they will warranty, they'll replace the engine, something like that. Not very common to see that, but low oil, sometimes it's just whoever filled it last time did the oil change, didn't fill it enough. And so that could have been what went on here. April of 2017, 15,000 miles, the low pressure fuel pump is reprogrammed. That's the humming or buzzing you hear in the back seat, very common on the 2016s, and it was addressed. August of 2017, 18,000 miles. Note that it was a Toyota corporate lease program vehicle and an employee vehicle. So that's, kind of reinforces the fact that this was a Lexus owned vehicle. So I don't think this was a press car or a driving school car. I think it was a corporate owned vehicle that was used by probably an executive or something like that. December of 2017, 20,500 miles, new brakes and pads all around, and pretty typical for front brakes. Rear brakes probably didn't need replacing, but they replaced all of them. February of 2018, 21,000 miles, they replaced the left front wheel and tire. So the wheel was replaced due to hitting a pothole. So they obviously cracked it or did something enough where it needed to be replaced. April of 2018, 23,000 miles, the JLB recall was done. So that's the high pressure fuel pumps. Most of these cars have that done. June of 2018, certified pre-owned prep, 3 new tires and a new front lower splash shield. So that's pretty common to see on these cars. If you hit something and it rips it or breaks it or something otherwise. So it was repaired or it was replaced here. January of 2019, 43,500 miles, the check engine light was on and it was throwing several codes, P0101, so 101, 171, 174, and 1170. And they replaced the mass airflow sensor. What was probably wrong there is there was a piece of dirt on the actual sensor and it probably just needed to be cleaned, but they replaced the entire sensor. Very common that you see that on a lot of Lexus and Toyota vehicles. And it's usually just you buy some mass airflow sensor cleaner, comes in a little spray can, and that generally resolves it. And if it doesn't, then you have to replace it. But mass airflow sensors failing, not super common. It's just they get some dirt on them. March of 2019, the right front inner fender, I'm assuming inner fender liner, was loose, and they said it needs to go to the body shop to get repaired. And I don't think it's for body shop for any paint work. It's just in order to properly secure that or re-secure it, probably just needs the right clips or other repair. December of 2020, 80,000 miles, the 60,000 mile service, so it's 20,000 miles late with spark plugs. So the spark plugs were done at 80,000 miles, so you can go quite a bit further until you need to get it done. You know, this car coming up on the 120,000 mile service doesn't need to be done until about 140,000, or just do it at 120 to keep the schedule the way it normally is. On that service, they noted that both of the front doors are squeaking, and so they quoted replacement for the check straps, and I guess they didn't do it there. The sunroof was making noise at that service. They quoted a seal replacement. They did not do it there. They also recommended a belt replacement, TVD service, torque vectoring differential service, and front brakes, but all of that was declined as well. And also the KLG was done. That's the GPS location reporting incorrectly. So that was done on this car at that time. November of 2021, 85,500 miles, they replaced the sunroof seal. So I guess the rattle was getting to them, or the wind noise or something, but it has a new sunroof seal in 2021. And then the last service, July of 2022, 88,500 miles, the 90,000 mile service, which includes brake fluid. So that's the 30,000 mile service, again at 60 and again at 90. So brake fluid. They also replaced the battery there and a flat repair. So that's the last service. There is one thing I saw on Carfax in 2024, which is a tire or tires replaced. And looking at the photos, it was probably the rear tires. The rear tires are Michelin's and they look fairly new. It's hard to tell with the lighting about the fronts. So that would be something to look at. Brakes and tires. These cars always need brakes and tires. This car could need brakes and tires, but doesn't look like it needs rears anyway. So what else isn't done? The ZLZ never got done on this car under the coverage. So the in-service date, again, is December of 2015. So it expired in December of 2025. So if the dash does get sticky or cracked or anything like that, you are on the hook for replacement yourself. Valley plate. Would not be surprised if the valley plate's leaking on this car. Heat cycles and time, this has had both. And so put money aside for valley plate replacement, or if you get the Max Care warranty from CarMax, which I would probably recommend because of some of the things that this car will need in the future, primarily the valley plate. HVAC servo sweep, that hasn't been done on this car, so make sure everything's fully warmed up. Set one side to max hot, one side to max cold, and cycle through everything, and then switch sides and make sure everything responds. If it doesn't, there's a reprogramming fix for it that has not been done on this car. If that still doesn't fix it, then you're on the hook for servo replacements. There are several servos underneath the dash, and some of them require the dash removal in order to replace them. Low pressure fuel pump recall, the part should be available any day now. So here it is, early June 2026. They said that it was supposed to be late May or sometime in June for replacement parts, and we still haven't had notice that it's available. Lower control arm bushings, front lower control arm bushings, look at the insides of the front tires, and if you see any excessive wear, you probably need to replace tires, alignment, and the front lower control arm bushings. As I said, I don't see any replacement for recent brakes and otherwise tires, except maybe some in 2024, but they overall look decent. I would probably get the TVD, the torque vectoring differential serviced. I would get the transmission service because there's no record of it being done at all. Coolant, Lexus says to do the coolant at 100,000 miles. That has not been done on this car of record. So all of the carbon fiber trim is starting to delaminate. You can pull those yourself, send them off to SMA Fabrication and save yourself a ton of money. Or you can replace them or take them to the dealer and have them replace them. That's the most expensive way to do it. But that could get $8,000 to $10,000 if you went that route. But I would say the maintenance history, it needs some catching up. It's not terrible, but you do need to put some money in it on catching it up for maintenance. So that brings me to would I buy this car? This is a pretty solid buy at $41,000 for the mileage, and it's an accident-free, Southern-driven car. So it has a lot of the things that people are looking for. It's not modified. It's well maintained early on. It just hasn't been well, and it's been somewhat maintained along the way. It just hasn't been well maintained, and at least of record. So maybe somebody did it DIY or otherwise, but that would be something that you would need to investigate. But CarMax is going to remove everything out of the glove box. They're going to wipe any personal information. So you're going to have no idea on previous service history other than what's on the Carfax and the Lexus service history, which is what I just told you. So I would say assume it hasn't been done and plan on doing it, including the valley plate. So your purchase price is $41,000 plus tax, title, and license. So you're in this like $43,500. Then you're going to put another $3,000 or $4,000 into it for maintenance, and then you're going to be in the upper 40s for your all-in price on this car. But then it'll be ready to go. So yeah, I think I would buy it at 41. It sounds like a pretty promising deal, but it does need some catching up on service. That would be the only big thing. So that's what I got for you guys. VIN 0141. So if somebody doesn't complete the purchase at CarMax, then you will definitely see it up for sale again. So turn your notifications on, keep an eye on things. Thanks again for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, and we will see you soon.